spilling rum everywhere. So, oh, lovely creature. I am destroying this table. Right next to the Hampden stain. A little more than that. So I had grand plans of just doing a cold open where I would just pour the rum, and clearly that is failing already. I may cut all this. You may not see this. So I usually do not spend this degree of money on a single bottle of anything anymore. Not on malts, definitely not on bourbons, because it feels like there's not really that level of singularity and specialness in those categories anymore. Rum is still a little bit different. Rum is still has things which are kind of special, things which I feel like I'm not going to see the likes of again. And this is one of those things. This is a bottling from the National Rums of Jamaica, and it is a Long Pond. So National Rums of Jamaica is this large kind of part government consortium that owns Long Pond and Monimusk alongside Ferrand, God help us. And they put this series of bottlings out along with the Velier folks, which is kind of cool because Velier does nerdy rum stuff like this. This is a 2007 vintage, aged 11 years tropically, so nothing on the continent, in Jamaica. And that's already great. That's already something I'm interested in. What makes this really, 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 really special is that it is marked TECC, TECC. Toten Tech for rep, as Biggie used to say. This is the highest ester mark that Long Pond makes. Long Pond makes a fair number of high ester marks. This is the highest of the bunch. In other words, this is the one where they're not only using long fermentation. That's happening, just long fermentations of molasses. They're not just throwing dunder in the still along with the stuff that's fermented and ready to go. They're not just putting muck in there from their disgusting muck pits. They're not just putting vinegar in there from their acid tanks. This is all of those. This is we're pulling all the stops on this one to get this as estery as humanly possible, and then on top of that. Which is unlike all the DOKs, the docks from Hampden that I've had and reviewed previously and loved. Well, I've reviewed one that I absolutely adored and got the highest score that I've ever given on this little channel. They're aging it in casks, specifically 11 different casks that have been blended for 11 years. So this is serious stuff. Bottled at 62.5% alcohol. A batch of 11 barrels for 3,325 bottles, which you can still buy, by the way. Continental flavored, which just means high ester. And I don't know what I'll say about this. 1,500 to 1,700 grams per hectoliter alcohol by volume. So this is as big as it gets. This is as funky and fruity and estery and balmy as it can possibly get in rum, and I'm excited. So I was willing to spend the rather high price on this stuff, and tropically aged at that. And I can smell it from here already, because it's that kind of rum. On the nose. Huge. This is a gigantic, eye-wateringly complex and huge and estery rum. Like, we are definitely, in infusion era Miles Davis as far as the funk goes right here. Flowers lead the way, as often happens in these high ester rums. Flowers, just all sorts of flowers, mixed flowers, tons of them. Lots of rocks too, crushed rocks that are wet with some water on them, wet rocks. And then the oak is like pushing back against all the rumminess going on. There's some sour cherry going on here. There's a little bit of vanilla, a little like just straight up wood sugars. Some creme brulee. Sweet tea, definitely sweet tea. A little sweet tea with a little lemon twist in there. And the flavors just keep on coming. Bubblegum, black licorice. Mixed olives, just a big pile of mixed olives. Hoisin sauce. More cherries, lots more, like dessert cherries along with the sour ones. Kirsch, and then other stuff. Cranberry too. There's some red currant. Blueberries. Raspberries. And not just like, stuff you plucked off the tree, like, or the bush. We're talking preserves, syrups, just dense stuff. There's some rust. I'm smelling a rusty old car in this. Pencil erasers. A little bit of rubber, like pencil erasers, cheap rubber. But also pencil dust. I'm not sure if that's association, but I'm getting pencil dust. Children's Tylenol, like there's a kind of intensely medicinal thing going on. Wowzers! This is serious rum. This is up there in terms of complexity and density and heft with, the Lagavulin 12s of the world, with, God only knows, like some of the just big bourbon monster. This is, this absolutely dwarfs the biggest bourbons I've had. Honestly, this is so huge. On the palate, interesting. So, how do I put this? On the one hand, this feels surprisingly linear. It feels like it's heading in one direction with lots of details, but you start to pay more attention. You notice, well, the level of details and the breadth of this is extraordinary. It dwarfs like that of comparable spirits. It's only the size and heft of this that makes that sort of the main core of flavors seem linear in that way. It's sort of like, I remember reading about the Bugatti Veyron, right? And like, like 1,000 horsepower plus. And it was a four-wheel drive, and people were reporting torque steer on it. Like the wheel like jerking because the engine was basically turning the car leftwards, I guess it was. And you would think, well, that's crazy. It's a four-wheel drive car. How can it be torque steering? It's because it's got like 250 odd horsepower going to the front wheels. This is kind of like that. This is the Bugatti Veyron of rums. It feels like torque steer. It feels linear, but it's not if you're sort of paying attention. Sour molasses. Regular molasses with some sourness somehow, but also like that pomegranate molasses you can buy in sort of Middle Eastern stores. Sour berries, sour berry preserves, really. So like you just picked a bunch of like slightly unripe berries off your bushes, and you made some preserves out of them, that kind of thing. I feel outmatched by this. I really do. Pipe tobaccos, of like flavored pipe tobacco, old man pipe tobaccos, kind of blended together. There's some plum flavorings in there. There's some vanilla, and on top of all that, you got your rocks and your flowers. You got your sweet tea. You got your like other teas too. Pu'er tea is in this. Vanilla essence. Yeah, the oak comes through more on the palate, actually, a little bit more. Vanilla coconut shells, toasted coconut shells. Rust, that children's highlight on it again. Anise. Olivey stuff, like olive concentrate, if you could make such a thing. And we'll close it with some I mean, straight up strawberry bubblegum. Like, this is, Big League Chew strawberry. Oh God, this is good. What's I'm gonna add some water to this, and we'll come back to it in a second. Let's see if that's right. I got it. That was like 5.5 squirts. If anyone's curious. Yeah. I mean, the level of so I mean, there's a couple of times in my history when I've been tasting things, and you just know from your first contact, like, this is going into the 90s. This is great. Usually it takes me a while to sort of build up to there, but sometimes old overholts from the pre-war era, from pre-prohibition. I've had some, I've had a little sips of Bowmore from the 60s. And beyond that, more recently, some, old Port Ellens, right? Some Lagavulin 12s at its very best. That's sort of, you just immediately go like, okay, you win. You're better than me. There's spirits out there that just feel like they're sort of better than us. They're sort of beyond our capacity to sort of get, grok them. And that's when things get special, right? That's what we're all in this for, a little, I guess, reviewers, to just be, because we can rattle off the tasting notes for, stuff in the 80s all day long and not get exhausted and not have to, struggle too much. But man, something really just, challenging and complex and dense like this shows up, and it's not just the deliciousness; it's the density of this that is, really impressing me. Let's go back to it with a little squirt of water to open it up a little bit on the nose. It becomes much more intense, much more fruity. This is now, I mean, it was already exploding out of glass before. Now it's like, feels like it's actually actively trying to punch me in the face from the glass with, like, sour fruit and flowers and rocks. And I love it. I mean, in some ways, this actually reminds me of like a Hermitage, like a high-end red Northern Rhone. The sort of sour berry characteristics of this, but then we're mingling with like rummy notes, with like rust and flowers and tons of more fruit, and the rocks, the sort of aromatic notes, the high tones. But I think really what's winning me over on this is that brutally sour, the sour berry note on this, which again reminds me of the Northern Rhone. When a spirit brings some acidity to the table, some tartness, like, I am all on board for that. That usually is enough to win me over, because I mean, not like it's good in itself. You need something to support that, but usually when that shows up, it's got the legs. It's got the other stuff there. Oh God, this is a great nose. Just a gorgeous nose. There's so much stuff going on, but at the same time, it's all sort of wrapped into itself. All right, on the palate. I'm going to cry. It's absolutely the tartness, the acidity on this, the sour berries mingled with black pepper and rocks that totally wins me over on this. It's just wild fruit, wild acidic, real fruit mingled with sweet oak and just smothered in perfect floral rumminess. The fennel, the seawater, the olives, all those, the rubberiness, all those sort of traditional rummy notes. But it's the sour fruit that is just scratching my happy place. Keep your mind out of the gutter. Seriously good. I mean, this is absolutely rivaling the best spirits I've ever had. How does this compare to the Hampden's Dock, the DOK? I feel like the Hampden may ultimately be the more complex spirit in terms of breadth, in terms of things happening. But this has a drive, a purpose to it that I just cannot ignore, and which I completely appreciate. This is terrific. This is up there with the best things I've had. This is up there with 60s Bowmores and Lagavulin at its best, and pre-war, American whiskey. It's that good. This is that good. The price they're asking for this on fine drams and elsewhere, you got to be rolling deep, right? The quality's there though. It's absolutely there. Yeah, we're gonna go 92 out of 100 on this. I think that's the biggest score I've given since the Hampden Dock. Stunning. This is stunning spirit. And if you're rolling deep, you should absolutely grab a bottle of this. I don't know have anything else to say. I would love to see more high ester long pond in the future. I would love to see more offerings of these sort of non-Hampden, non-Worthy Park distilleries in the U.S. We just don't get a lot of these. And the other ones I've seen have been from the plantation folks, the Ferran folks, and frankly, I'm a little scared of some of the finishes they've done. This is a different beast. This is tropically aged and just properly done. If you can grab this, grab it. Thanks for watching, and cheers.